Okay, next is this PESTEL analysis. And as we discussed before, PESTEL is for doing your external environment analysis, macro environment. Um, we have six factors. We call that political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal. Let's speak a little bit about them one by one. So if we speak about, for example, I mean, you can, it's not necessary to do analysis in this particular order. Sometimes it is also called, for example, when we used to call it PEST. So PEST, we said, oh, we also used to call it step model. So whether you call it PEST, you call it step, you call it PESTEL, you call it STEPL, whatever, makes no difference. So order is not important. We just write it down so that we can remember PESTEL. So political environment. So this is when do you use it? So if you are entering into any new country, so this is for macro environment. Okay. So this is not about industry. So you are entering to a new country. You are entering to a new economic environment. From one country, you are going to another. PESTEL is done by multinationals. So you are here in your country A and you are planning to move to country B, or you have an option to go to country C, or you have an option to go to country D. And you need to make a choice between, because probably you cannot go all three of them, or probably even if you want to go to B, you want to analyze. It's because we are going for, it's not about just sending one consignment import export thing. No, it is like a long term entry. You are going to probably set up a manufacturing facility there. Maybe you are going to make a 5 year or 10 year contract there. So you get stuck here. Before you go into that market, you need to understand the market itself. And this is actually understanding a new market. I mean, even if we do I mean, at one individual level, if you want to switch a job, another company you want to analyze, and you do analyze, okay, if I go from my company A to another company B, so decisions are not abrupt. Decisions are based on analysis. And if you do good analysis, quality of information, quality of analysis will lead to the quality of decision. So first thing is that we analyze the political conditions there. We call it, is it politically stable or politically unstable? um, the environment, is it monarchy, autocratic, democracy? Even if it is a democracy, is it politically stable democratic environment or politically unstable democratic environment? We have seen in many cases that companies, they sign contracts of huge value, and then the government changes and the new government comes, and the new government does not continue the policies of the previous government. They do not cancel the contract, but actually they stop facilitating the kind of support which was given by this previous government for a particular project. The new government is not extending the same support, or probably the new government is bringing support to some other areas which are in conflict with my interest. So political analysis is very important, because whatever you may do, whatever bigger or smaller company you are, you cannot do politically much. Like you can see that when Google goes to China, there are Chinese government, they put their own restrictions. Amazon is trying to enter India, Indian government is putting its own restrictions, and Indian government is always and always promoting their local businesses. So large multinational companies like even Amazon and Microsoft, they are facing very tough competition by Indian government and Indian courts. Even I was reading last week, so um, some local businesses have taken Amazon. So the it says Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon. By the way, he only holds 14% of Amazon. He is world's richest person, but he owns only 14%, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, either 14 or 24. I think 14, versus Mukesh Ambani. So this guy is India's richest man, Mukesh Ambani. He is the CEO of Ambani Group. So it said Jeff Bezos versus Mukesh Ambani, and the title, it said world richest person against India's richest person, who will win? Because Mukesh Ambani and his companies have taken Amazon to the Indian courts against, they are trying to stop Amazon from offering some certain services, just like you call it protectionism. So, and we know that it is assumed that although Amazon might be on the right, they might be on the strong grounds, but Indian courts and Indian government, they always have a history of supporting their local entities. And it is expected that when the outcome will come, it might not be 100% in his favor. They might give him favor, but they would also support the local businesses. So local environment and culture and this thing is very important so we call it political stuff, okay? So you are going to China, you need to understand what type of product you are giving, what type of service are you giving, and how the local political environment is going to react to that. Second is the, of course, economic environment, the country. So you see that first, the country is on the growth path, their economy is growing. And number two, the industry within which you work, that is also on the growth path. So because it is, we see two overall, because end of the day, people have to buy products and services. So if purchasing power is not there, if people do not have disposable money, how would they spend money on your product or services? So we see the overall economy and economic condition and the next 5 years, how it is expected to do in next 5 years. Economy is growing, most probably industries will also grow. And then, so right now I'm not doing industrial analysis. This will happen in my Porter's five forces. Right now I'm doing the overall economy is growing or not. But later on, we will do through industry as well. That would be done with Porter's five forces. Then you see the social setup and social structure, society and norms and values and cultures and ethics, the type of product which you are going to offer and how it would be accepted within that. I mean, and it is actually society means also customers. So you know that we have there is a separate topic, we call it consumer behavior. In consumer behavior, there are some people, people, we have defined consumers into four different categories, the last one being laggards. Laggards are those who will take or adopt the new product or service in the end. The first one I think is called early adopters, if I'm not wrong, because I have not, this is consumer behavior. Then you have followers. And I think maybe there is one more, I think. So early adopters are those people who are always, you can see within your friend circle, there are people who always try to buy something, anything which comes new, they are the first ones to go and test it, okay? A new restaurant comes up, they are the first one, they go to the restaurant, they come back, they give you feedback, and then you go. So they go first and they give you feedback. After listening the feedback, then you go. They are early adopters, you are followers. And a person like me would go there after 3 years. I'm a legate, for example. You know, if I'm connected to one particular product, I don't switch it very early. So there are different type of consumer behaviors. So society and these consumer behaviors are how to say reflected in the social fiber and structure. Like the US economy, you have got a very big percentage of early adopters. So any new product, any country, any company, which whoever makes a new product, the first thing they do, they introduce it into US. Because in US you have a very large population of consumer behavior who are early adopters. They like to, how to say, test and trial and experiment and experience the new things. So it is just one side of consumer behavior. Then you might have, some other religious things as well. Your product might be against some, might not be acceptable in certain religious frameworks. So overall social analysis we do. Within social analysis, we see, like I said, the values and culture and consumer behavior is one thing. How demanding people are, some customers in some markets, customers, they become happy with very minimum effort. You give them very little and they are happy. While in some countries or in some cultures, people are really very fussy. They expect a lot, they demand a lot. So companies really have to work hard on these markets because customers, it's their culture, it is their style. They demand a lot, they expect a lot. Then you see technological factor, how the technological infrastructure is available for you. I mean, what benefits you can get out of the technology things there. I mean, if you go to a country where mobile networks or internet is not available in 30% of the country, what can you do? I mean, you cannot go there and start building up IT network. You are there for doing business. So, what technological, you know, where do they stand in terms of technology? Because that is what businesses are impacted a lot. And then you have environmental. What environmental laws are there? If you violate any type of environmental laws, how it will be treated, how it will be punished. Environmental laws are in many countries, but punishment is not. Governments sometimes are not so sensitive on these areas. And then ecological issues and green issues and customers and consumers, how do they react? Okay. I mean, if you are doing pollution in some underworld, in some third world country, people, the society and community usually is silent. They don't care. Everybody is so much stuck in their own problems of everyday problems of bread and butter that they do not even pay attention to these areas. But you cannot expect to do any kind of contamination to environment in European market or in US market. The government reacts and the people and the community reacts. So you need to see this thing. And last of all, the legal frameworks. The laws, how do they support the foreign companies? What are the labor laws are there? What are the, mercantile law, business law, how it is going to favor you or not favor you? So all of these things, factors, so every one of them has further 3, 4, 5 points. Some of these points are in your favor, some of these are not in your favor. So there is something which is in my favor, there is something which is not in my favor, and I need to analyze the impact of all these factors. When you would be doing or reading your scenario in exam, the language of the scenario or the question is not very subtle. It is not very subtle. It is very clear, very obvious. You read the sentence and you immediately understand this is the point I need to speak about. I always say that answer lies within the question. Please remember, within the question, okay? The answer lies within the question. If you read the question carefully, you will immediately understand that what your examiner wants you to focus at. He always gives you clue in the scenario. So you just need to pay attention to the language of the scenario. This is your PESTEL model. National environment, assessing the opportunities and threats which are present in different countries can be particularly important for multinational companies which are thinking about investing in a new country. However, another key consideration in the investment decision could be how competitive the country is. Now, this is going to be your uh, Porter's diamond model.